this ace queen off. No. This is just a pretty good flop, and one that we just are pretty much required to bet as the preflop aggressor. I think that not betting it is more suspicious. This king on the turn, we're just going to go small. Probably just like small, small, small. If we get check raised, I think that's a hand like Jack 10. I think Jack 10 would make a ton of sense here. I don't think I have a bet 3-bet, so basically I'm just going to call, hope for like a deuce. Jack, not the greatest of cards because now we can have ace jack, but if they have Jack 10, we should have less ace jack in our range. Small bet on the river. Small bet on the river. Yeah, it's kind of it's a bet that could be, you know, inducing versus a hand like king queen or something. I don't know. Basically, like we just raise and hope for the best. Obviously, the best being, I guess that. I mean, well, it's a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement for a little bit of nothing. 8-10 off. We'll defend versus a min. I actually think 3-ways. I'm not going to fold, but it's not like a slam dunk. Here, after we flop it, we're going to lead. I don't love my sizing, 70%. I should have gone 50%. Could have gone 30%. Ah, boy, I want this one back. The 9. I don't think the 9 is like a card I want to bet a ton. Villain's going to have more 9s than I. On the ace, like, do I just bet like 30% or 25%? I guess 25%. I think that like leading 3-ways there, 70% is just, yeah, it's a mistake. Should have been 50. Typically aren't betting a more than 50% very often in multi-way pots. And the button had 7-5 of spades. This ace 9, we're going to flat on the button. And now we have a 3-way flop. Just checking this. I don't think it's a hand that needs much protection. Villains, hands that can kind of improve, like Villains 10x, they're single pair type hands. Here, I don't need a ton of protection. I don't think I can get called 2 streets by 10x, so just going to be checking behind and then playing rivers accordingly. The 10 is, you know, that's one of the cards that promotes villains. The fact that they don't bet kind of is, yeah, just going to give me the, I think I'm going to go on the larger side here, go a little bit more polarized, try to get bluff caught by some like pocket fours, pocket fives type hands. I'd be quite surprised to get raised on the river. It's a hand that makes a lot of sense, a river flush. The villain had 6-4, so they, wow. The villain had 6-4 off, which is, oh, no, I had 6-4 off. They had 5-6 off. So they bluff caught there with third pair. That's a little bit of a questionable hero call there with third pair. So facing a big bet on this board with my flush draw, I'm going to call. Yeah, just going to start by calling. I should have a fair amount of queens in my range. I don't know that... Yeah, I don't know the villain bets the turn with less than a queen. So basically, we're just going to fold to a turn bet. So ace queen off here. Just going to be a 3-bet. Pretty slam dunk. Facing a 4-bet, we will call. And going back to that 5-6 offhand that villain just played, I think, yeah, that says something about their strategy, about the way they play. They like bluff catching. Wide formation here, flopping top pair, top kicker. We are just going to be, we're just going to be basically going for it. 3 streets of value. Going to be 270 in the pot on the turn, and we'll bet 70%. Jacks, a set of jacks should be 4-betting. So like jacks should be 4-betting. The value they have is really pocket sevens. This jack on the turn is not ultra great for us. It obviously promotes their flop middle pairs. Now I don't think our hand is strong enough to go for 3 streets of value. And we have a flush completing card and a straight completing card. I'm not ultra concerned with the... I'm not ultra concerned with the flush completing aspect of it. They will have some like king 10s in their range. And now they bet... 3/4 pot here. It's quite... I just can't think of a hand that we beat. Yeah, I think I'm just going to fold. I can't think of a hand that we beat, which is typically a bad sign when you're bluff catching. Okay. Like once the cutoff opens and the button calls, we get to call some of our pocket pairs in the small blind due to a lot in part of the low rake environment of these stakes. So here with the ace-8 with the 8 of hearts, because we block the straight and villain 3-bets a lot of their sets of 10s, probably a lot of their sets of 7s, we're just going to start out big. Very unexpected to get raised here. I don't expect to get raised like very often at all. The raise is quite small. We're getting 3-1. I think I'm just going to fold. when you bet those boards with an available straight and you choose a large sizing, the frequency in which you get raised typically goes down, which means that the hands that do decide to raise you are more equity driven by nature, so they are stronger. And when you're facing a range that is full of a bunch of strong hands, you typically need a hand to continue that can either realize some equity. So a flush draw, for instance, is like a slam dunk continue. Yeah, I think that's those are the types of hands that can kind of improve. I wouldn't even choose that sizing with a hand like an overpair, right? I think that like if I did choose that sizing with an overpair, the problem is that you get raised and then life is kind of hell. Here with the queens, yeah, so we're just going to be 4-betting this and getting it in. If villain jams, then c'est la vie. Villain flatting 4-bet pot. I think that their ace kings are going to get it in quite often. So basically we're going to go the old 25. Actually, I've seen better cards in the deck than that. Checking this card, I actually don't think they're going to bet this card that often. I don't think they should anyway. Like, we're checking a lot of our ace kings, and here, checking again. You would think that once villain calls the flop, they have bluff catchers. Man. So they have aces full for sure. Man. I think, again, they've got to be turning a hand into a bluff like jacks or tens with no heart, and I just think that's quite unlikely. I mean, it's possible, but quite unlikely. So versus this villain, like, we're going to open. They seem to be pretty, like, they haven't taken a ton of aggressive actions, so I don't think that, like, limping is going to do us much good. This board, they have a lot of natural continues. They have a lot of natural continues. I don't know that they have a ton of hands that want to call versus 3 streets, so we're just going to start out with 50 and go bet on a variety of runouts, including this one. Now we have like an 8, a queen, a 7, a 6, all viable cards to have to bluff with bet. Suspicious of like the 7-8s, queen 10s, even 8-10 maybe. Hands that raise the turn, I mean, like jack 9 sets make some sense. 5s and deuces, 9s they're likely to 3-bet pre. Guess they could have like a jack 5-ish type hand turning 2 pair, maybe jack deuce suited even. Big blind versus MP, like, we'll call just because. But queen 9, like, we block king queen. Villain starting out small, like, we're just gonna call. Anytime doing these live streams and have a fringe hand to complete the big blind with. Just want to give action. Give the audience what they desire. It's not good blocking king 10 and king jack, which would be some available bluffs. Half pot here, kind of strange sizing. Pretty good run out. Thin value that bet the turn, jacks and tens. I don't think they go for 3 streets. Maybe they do versus a 9. Aces and kings sure do. Ace queen does. Available bluffs would be, yeah, there you go. I guess kings doesn't go for it either. I think that off the table, you just want to study and learn and grow as much as you can, which looks different for different people, but yeah, that's kind of the process. I mean, once you have the skills and you're able to recognize that you have an edge, then you want to move up if you can. Here with the jacks, I think, yeah, we're going to start out with the 70%er. I don't expect to get raised here that often. We don't have the jack of spades, but hands like on the 7, that doesn't really change very much. And yeah, we're just going to be going for 3 streets of value here. I don't expect to get raised. Like, this will be a 3-bet. Happy day. Got a hand that can 3-bet and call a 4-bet. What's up, buddy? Ace high. We block ace queen. I think we're going to start out with half pot. Blocking like ace king doesn't really do a ton because they don't really have ace king. They can have like ace 5 or ace 8, pocket 8s, pocket 5s. This is like a pretty easy 3-bet and call 4-bet hand. This villain's short 24 hands at the table. They've been 3-bet quite a bit already. And this is, kind of a good board. And we're going to start by betting a quarter pot. Don't really expect to get raised that often. Villains has to defend quite wide facing this bet. So on the 7 turn, like now going 3 streets, I don't think makes a lot of sense. So I think like just checking makes some sense. The 9 pairing, not especially great. The backdoor flush completing, also not especially great. Hope villain checks, basically. There were quite a few different runouts that I would have preferred. Yeah, now it's just pretty much checking. And yeah, quite the turn card for the villain there. And we're just going to defend like all the things here. Flopping top 2 on a board where villain just has a bunch of strong hands, like really happy to just bet half pot and expect to get check raised quite often. I expect villain to continue quite often. Like, it's just, I would be quite shocked and surprised if villain just check folds. just going to go for an overbet here on the turn. Again, we have a limited amount of strong value hands, and that just puts villains bluff catchers in quite a pickle. But they got out of the pickle by simply mucking their hand. The 8s is going to be a 3-bet if nothing happens. If the 5-seed or the 4-seed flats, then we could consider flatting, but as it is, we'll just go ahead and 3-bet. Check raising here with the nut flush blocker and just barreling off pretty much most runouts with that specific hand. Let's just hope the 5-seed doesn't open. Because I think I would deviate and simply flat the 5-seed. Man, it's tough to invite the 2-seed in. Want the 2-seed to play. The 1-seed there doesn't agree with me at all. Pretty slam dunk call here. Flush draw with overs. I mean, we could raise. We don't have a lot of hands that want to raise, but it doesn't really stop us from raising. The king is quite good. The king, like villain, can rep the king. Here, I don't know if this villain's going to go bet check bet or not. A lot of their hands that want to bluff the turn just like jacks and 10s and 9s check. Their 8x checks. Their bluffs tend to bet, so they probably have more bluff catchers here than they have natural bluffs. One kind of interesting thing we could do is go a third and then call a raise. Whew. We did it. Villain had the jack 8 of clubs, so they flopped top pair. Hope y'all have enjoyed the stream. Lost about 900. Couldn't really get much going. But we'll get them next time. Thank you all very much.